Hello there, welcome to Over a Couple of Drinks presents The Regulars, Game of Thrones, episode 6, right? Beyond the Wall. We have one more episode till the finale. We're excited. If you want the fast version, the fast forward link will be down below. Will be good. If you don't want to listen to us talk for probably 20 minutes, well then why did you click this video? Really? Come on.
Realistically, come on.
Come on. So Jess, where do you want to start?
Oh, God.
Should we get the stuff, in front of the wall done first? Because there's not. There isn't really a lot that happened in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's start with some Winterfell.
Winterfell.
You want to start with Winterfell?
Okay.
Winterfell. No, anyways. So Winterfell. Basically, everything that's going on in Winterfell. So last episode, Arya found a little love note that Sansa was forced to send to her brother.
In season 1 or 2 or whatever.
Looks a little bad.
Yeah.
And Arya's pissed off about it. So they have this weird. There's this weird. Oh, and there's another weird encounter. But hey, okay. So the first weird encounter that happens is Sansa first of all, Cersei summoned Sansa to bend the knee down in King's Landing, and Sansa decides, I'm gonna send my dedicated arm to
Brienne.
go there. We're gonna go send Brienne.
Which is weird because the scene right before this, Littlefinger is trying to pull strings on Sansa, saying, "Oh, yeah, Brienne's supposed to protect you and Arya. So if Arya ever did anything, she'd have to step up." And then Sansa just immediately sends Brienne away, and I'm like, "The F?"
Yeah, it was a little weird.
A little.
Which brings me to the second thing, where Arya, Sansa breaks into Arya's room and is looking for this love note, and ends up finding a bag of faces.
Just a bag full of faces.
Just a big old bag of faces. And so Arya just pops out of spooky nowhere with her spooky face on, and she's just like, those are my faces.
Do you want to play the game of faces?
Person. Do you want to play the game of faces? Heads up, the last person who didn't end well for the last person who played it with me. And Sansa's just like, oh my God, my siblings are psychopaths.
Bran's talking about how he can see everything and anything, and Arya steals people's faces.
He's like, I don't understand. And Arya's like, I could take your face, but hold the phone. Here's where I've got some questions, because I'm unsure of whether or not this was a contingency error or an intentional exposing of possibilities. But Jaqen H'ghar wore Arya's face while Arya was still alive.
Yes.
So in theory, Arya should be able to wear Sansa's face while she's still alive.
Either that or some type of, magic trick.
So, I don't know.
I
don't understand why Arya's not wearing Sansa's face and going to Winterfell right now. Or maybe she'd wear Sansa's face and send Brienne to Winterfell so that she could get Sansa alone.
I don't know.
But I don't know. It makes me a little mad. I'm like, why isn't this happening? Why hasn't she used her face-stealing powers since,
Maybe she didn't learn how to steal a face without killing them first.
Maybe she didn't. She wasn't there very long.
She did drop out a la Luke Skywalker in Empire Strikes Back. She was like, Jaqen H'ghar was all like, you need to stay. She's like, homie, I gotta go. Listen, I gotta bounce. Vader's got my people in Cloud City. I gotta go. So it's very awkward, and Arya is just flexing her power in this scene, straight up, and I'm just like, you're just kind of getting back at her, aren't you?
It's very unlike Arya, though. At the same time, it's a very weird. We're seeing a different side of Arya.
I think what we're seeing here is that she finally has a thumb up on Sansa, finally, and she's flexing it, showing her what she can do to maybe show her that Littlefinger is abusing her another way.
And and I think that's solid. But it made me uncomfortable, and I think it's meant to. Probably because I just like read an entire thread about how close like Sophie Turner and like Maisie Williams are, but
Well,
I'm like,
that shows.
oh,
It
it
shows.
shows.
Um,
Um,
so the only other thing that happened be in front of the wall was this hilarious scene with Tyrion drinking wine at a fireplace and Dany coming up on him, being like, "You know what I like about you? You're not heroic." And he's like,
you're not a hero.
I can be a hero. I've done some heroes." She's like, "Listen." And I'm just like, this is great. Because she's like, all these other heroes, and she names, Khal Drogo and
It sounded like you just called him
Khal
Drogo.
Drogo. That's
his white man
hipster
name. It's
That's
his hipster name.
Yeah.
Carl. Oh, Carl.
I could go to Westeros and get you the Iron Throne. I just don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And what's his? Did she name Dora the Explorer? Jorah.
Jorah the Explorer.
Yeah, Jorah and what's his face, mercenary, not blue hair guy, and this king in the north, Jon Snow, and he's like, "Oh, so you don't like Jon Snow?" And she's like, "Well, I don't." She's like,
He's too little for me.
And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he mentions something about how she's staring at him, and he stares at her, and I'm just like, "Oh,
Oh.
yay, incest! Everyone can get behind."
Ew.
And
nothing else happens, right?
No, because then the only other thing that happens is a direct response of what happens to the wall, which we can get to.
Right.
But the Suicide Squad goes in, and we get this great bonding moment with everybody. And
it's so good.
I was kind of shocked when I woke up this morning. I read a bunch of articles and people saying they didn't like this episode and the writing was cheesy. And I was like, how did you watch the same episode I watched?
Right.
Because everyone gets a moment together, and probably my favorite one is Torrance Giant Spain and the Hound talking.
Yes.
I was cracking up so hard because they're talking about how, touched by fire is something good, and the Hound doesn't like fire, and he doesn't like gingers, and he goes, you were touched by fire, and he's like, do you want to suck my dick? And he's like, dick? It's like
dick?
Cock. And he's like, I like dick. Nope, not for me. And he starts talking about Brienne, and it's so funny because when the Hound puts two and two together and goes, did she give you a look like she's gonna bash your skull in? You saw it too?
That's like I actually like I started hating, like, first time I watched it, I hated it. Second time I watched it, kind of loved it. Kind of an ordeal. Like the whole buddy, like, Gendry's never seen snow before.
Oh my god, yeah, I've never seen snow before.
And then like, well, you gotta keep yourself busy with, like, what was it, eating, fighting, and fucking.
Yeah,
and then
fighting's good. Fighting's good. Running's best.
Running's better.
Well,
fucking is best.
Because
right?
Yeah, he's like, but we don't have any women. You gotta make do with what you got.
And Gendry's just like, what? What, me? What? Like, it was funny, and like even like the conversation between Jorah the Explorer and Jon,
which was really good because Jorah is like realizing that Jon was this son he could never be for his dad since everything that happened, and him accepting it and kind of giving them that bonding moment, because all we've had from them before is jealousy over the Dragon Queen.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to see them kind of respect each other, and I loved Tormund talking about how he wants to have great big monkey babies that will destroy the world with Brienne.
Yeah.
It's just so cute. I love it. And
so funny.
What other we have a couple one, like what's his face, one-eyed bitch. We're talking to Jon. So
Beric and Jon, you don't look like your father.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody knows. Like, we know. You need to stop including the conversations that specifically tell us that people in Westeros don't know, other than Bran. Like, you need to stop including those. Waste my time. What else? I think that was it. Like, that was it for engaging conversations that they've been having.
They get attacked by a white
bear.
A polar bear that is
like
a zombie
bear.
And the Hound gets afraid because there's fire, and they set it on fire, and it bites the red priest. Forget his name, Thermos or whatever his name of Myr.
The Thermos.
He's really not important.
The Thermos.
Because he's not a bald guy with a weird Hayachi bun on top of his head and super fat like he is in the books. Like he should be.
Right.
So I really didn't care about him. And he gets bitten, and he's like, they're like talking about how he's barely going on, and
And I just cauterize it, you fucks.
and Chora and him have a great moment where he's like, when I saw you fight on the Iron Islands, they thought you were crazy psycho. How drunk were you? He goes, I honestly don't remember. Anyways, they attack a group of zombies. They kill the White Walker with them, and all of them die, which gives a very good, interesting plot point of how everything's gonna win.
Except for the one that they captured, which conveniently didn't dissolve.
I'm wondering if, you know, like, you can say it's a plot point, or you can simply say that, you know, every group that travels has one that isn't created by that one, so they always know where to go.
That would make sense.
You know, the Night's King isn't an idiot, which we'll see. So they capture him. He starts calling for help, and they send Gendry away back to Eastwatch to get help, which leads us back to the wall where Dany goes with their dragons and basically tells Tyrion off because they had a little fight. They had a little fight that we didn't cover.
We did have a little fight,
which was dumb.
I thought that might we get to the fight that before she leaves.
No, there's a fight when they were talking about at the fireplace about how she doesn't have any kids and no successor.
Oh yes, that fight.
And then they have a fight about something else. And when they leave, I don't remember it. You tell me.
Well, when she leaves or the fight beforehand.
When she leaves.
They have a fight beforehand, like when she leaves, because
I just said that.
No. Sorry, I was distracted by the fact that my dog is just staring at me, so I was taking a picture so I could send you a Snapchat of it.
Oh, okay. Let me
Fuck
get on
me,
Snapchat
right?
real quick.
I haven't sent it yet because you interrupted me by asking me questions about the podcast that we're doing right now.
I don't have
what?
a Snapchat right now.
But anyways, so the fight that they get to beforehand was about her kids, and then the fight that right before she leaves is about like, hey, you can't do this, you shouldn't.
Sometimes
because we haven't gotten to that point, but like,
the best
he
thing
says
you
sometimes
can
the
do,
best action is no action.
And she says, the last time you told me to do that, I did it, and I hated it, and I don't remember when that was.
It was when she was when they sent out everybody else and she didn't do anything, and that's when like, you know, they lost Dorne and Highgarden and like Yara. Poor Yara. She's just been stuck on a boat for like the last like 3-4 episodes.
Bono.
Fucking Bono. Bet he's not even sharing his clothes with her.
Right. Bitch.
Anyways, so big bad Mojo fight.
Yeah, so the big bad fight happens. They retreat across a frozen lake. It starts to crumble. They're on an island on the lake, and basically it's a big standoff, and they work out that if they kill the Night's King, they kill all of them. Which is interesting because they should be focusing him then, you know?
Right,
but they don't. Which you say, oh, but Bill, they don't have a chance. They're surrounded. You're like, yeah. And then the bread priest dies. Don't care. And the Hound starts throwing rocks at them.
Right? I just like, why? Rocks? Yeah. Why? How could this possibly go wrong?
And they realize it froze over, so you have this big epic fight breaks out. And and you think everyone's gonna die, and then they don't.
Because Dany comes in like a fucking wrecking ball, riding Drogon.
Wrecking ball.
Oh.
I just threw my flame and saw the White Walkers burn up and all. Oh, I got nothing.
All you ever did was stab me.
So she starts burning them all, and they all try to get on top of Drogo, and they can't all make it, so Jon stays behind. Right at this point, okay. I know everybody talks about
Darth Iceface.
Darth Iceface. This is like the most. I hated this part. I hated this part not because of the consequences, but because of how un-Game of Thrones it was.
Yeah.
He picks up an ice lance and chucks it perfectly and kills Viserys. Which one is he?
Viserys.
Yeah. Who's flying around like 1 billion feet up in the air, going as fast as a dragon, and it's like it was so badly anime that I hated it. Yeah. I was like, this is dumb. You're telling me he can throw an ice spear that probably weighs a ton, like over 300 feet,
It is Darth Iceface. He's probably like
but still
thousands and thousands of years old.
It looked so bad. It looked bad.
It did.
It was just like, why didn't you just?
It looked forced.
Yeah, it was just. I was like, I didn't need this. You could have had like it come down and him like face off against it, like just like it coming to burn him, and he just throws it right at him instead of doing like this 1 in a million shot perfect hit kind of thing.
Right.
And I was just like, you could have done it better. This was showboating to make it look cool, and then. I'm so over that stage of media of like what's cool. It's like when you have a main character that's a badass and you're supposed to believe that he's badass and you're just like, I'm not buying it. You got to show me you're a badass. And then
Iron Fist.
Yeah, Iron Fist. 90% of video games nowadays, you know. So it was forced and it didn't look good and I expected better.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, but, you know, inside, I'm happy that it happened the way that it did because it was Viserion that died and not Drogon.
Yeah.
Like, because, like, you know, we all have a soft spot for Drogon, but, like, not that, like losing a dragon, it was heart-wrenching. Well, and then, like, seeing Dany's face during it, and then, like, Jon's still down there, like, trying to get everybody else free so that they could take off, and they go for the second ice pick. Mm-hmm. And like Jon's like go, and then like because Dany's driving this one, she does a barrel roll in the sky and like
almost
gets away from it. Almost no, it was Jorah.
Oh, was it Jorah the Explorer?
It was Jorah that she almost lost, and like and they leave like and Jon falls into a puddle and like you know they leave him for dead. You know, it falls into the goddamn frozen lake, so they're like, bye, Felicia. Like, don't need to be worrying about no fucking white Jon Snow up in this bitch. Like, what the fuck? Like, they just left him. And I get that, because they gotta save the dragons. But, like, they left him. Well, and then, here's a fucking, like, out of left field comes fucking Cold Hands, like Uncle Benjen to save the day. Like, you know, I was thinking like maybe there was gonna I was thinking now again because I said where's Ghost?
Why didn't Ghost come and save the day?
Why didn't Ghost come anywhere? Why haven't we seen Ghost at all this season?
Because he's
expensive. Said where's Ghost? And so I was asking myself that question, and apparently there was like some sort of scene that they cut out of the show where like that they filmed where they were leaving Ghost at Winterfell, but I'm like, well, maybe they cut it out. Maybe Ghost is gonna come save him with like the super PAC or something like that. Like, I don't know. Like, I was trying to think of like what could possibly fucking happen here. And Cold Hands like was not what I was expecting.
Not to mention it was one of those again roped in basically cameos where he shows up for like 20 seconds and then dies.
Right.
Which what they did with Tonks and everything, you know?
Yeah.
So,
well, and I honestly thought that like there was all these conspiracies that's what they were gonna do with Gendry. Everyone's like, why is the Hound holding Gendry's hammer? It's because Gendry dies. And I'm like, you're all a bunch of idiots. Like, but then part of your brain is like, what? And like I thought that it was gonna be Gendry that died, but no.
No, we had a thought where Tormund was gonna die, and then the Hound saved him, and then you know this is my main point of it. They all know they need to kill the Night's King. Dany doesn't, right?
Yeah.
When they climbed on Drogo, they wouldn't like focus fire on him.
Yeah.
I don't care what an Ice Lance could do. A dragon's breath would take out the Ice Lance if it was thrown at Drogo and he blew.
In theory, yeah.
So it's like I don't understand why they just were like, kill him, we win the war.
Right. I think they were just panicking, and like even furthermore, like once Viserion died, they needed a GTFO.
They needed a GTFO, and they were scared, and I get it. But
I am actually very surprised that Dany did not lose her goddamn mind, and just fucking like Leroy Jenkins and go for it. Like I thought she was gonna go off kilter. Like I really did. Like the way that they've built the character so far. Like, especially this season, I thought she was just going to go fucking balls deep into it, and she did not. Like, she was in shock, which is a realistic, more human reaction to it. It's just not entirely what I was expecting to her, but
the thing that was nice was, like, the next scene where she talks about the dragons was so much better for it.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's what I was gonna say.
So they all get back over the wall, including John, who's half frozen. They get him on a boat with the White Walker and everybody, and they peace out. And there's this really great scene with Danny looking over him, and he wakes up, and they start talking, and she goes, the dragons are basically my children. I can't have kids. So losing one is like the worst thing in the world. And it was a very emotional scene. It was very good. And John calls her Danny.
That's an interesting. What I picked up from it is because they were holding hands and he did call her Danny, and then she started talking about how these are the only children that she's going to have, and it almost seemed like it was an admittance that she has feelings for him, but wanting him to know that she can't bear children.
Yeah.
So if he's one of those guys, that's not an option. And he's already said he'll never bear a bastard. Yeah. I'm sure even if he does find his true parentage, he won't do that.
Nope.
So
that's not John,
I took that as her being hey, I like you, but I don't want kids.
I can't have kids. I'm sorry.
I can't have kids, and I'm sorry. I mean, that's a basic that's a 20th century conversation.
Yeah, and it's
real life.
It's handled really cool, and then with John, smooth. So smooth.
But John called her Danny, and she's just looking at all his scars, and I'm this was a nice scene.
Again, was a really cool scene where she goes down to see if he's okay, and she sees the scars for the first time. She starts to realize that it wasn't just colorful wording. He'd been stabbed.
He'd been stabbed a bunch of times.
So, and then the John, smooth as ice here. She's like, well, the only person who called me Danny was my brother, and he wasn't really nice company. And John's like, well, then maybe I should call you my queen. And she's like, what? And she's like, what? And he's like, listen, I'd bend the knee, but I physically can't.
Yeah.
And she's like, what about the people who follow you? She's like, did you see what you just did? You gave up a kid for me. You know what?
Yeah.
You mad cred. Gonna be mad, love. Well, all covers today. All covers.
All covers. All the time.
And that was it. Really, it was.
It was a lot of it. Yeah. It wasn't necessarily that it was a short episode either. It was an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, it was about an hour and 4 minutes, and then the
credits.
The sneak preview and the credits and the After the Thrones and everything was 1:10 on HBO Now.
But the thing was, we didn't have everyone. We just literally had Winterfell, Danny.
It was all the North.
And the North, which was great because that's always fun. One thing I did notice that really bothered me was Jorah and Danny's outfits. Come on. It was really cool to see, Tormund in his net classic gear. John was, hunkered over, war marine kind of thing. And, everyone was properly dressed. And Jorah's in, this chic coat. And, super stylish.
And Danny's dress, though. Yes, girl.
Don't get me wrong. That dress is great, but it's not going to keep you that warm. The one thing that's always been consistent in Game of Thrones is what they always wear. Even the girls in Winterfell wore layers and layers and layers.
Where the fuck did it come from?
I don't know. She has amazing designers.
Oh, but no, but inside the world, I know you're not supposed to ask these questions, but she came from not Westeros and definitely not anywhere cold ever again. This is probably the first time she's seen snow.
Maybe she was
Where'd
all
this fuzzy dress come from? She didn't borrow it from Sansa.
I plan on having a conquest in Winterfell, and I don't mean taking the castle. I need to be warm.
Oh my god, did you see the meme? It was if you make it back alive, I'll let you ride the dragon. And John's like, which one? And she's like, me.
I still love the meme of, yes, Jon Snow, King of the North. I heard you're here for dragon ass. I can let you ride me all night. Varys. I mean, dragon glass.
I haven't seen that one.
It's so good.
That's the best.
Other than that was the episode.
That's it. That's all that happens. Oh, and then they pull the dragon out of the.
Oh.
We missed that part. Then they pull the dragon out of the lake. Which, God, fuck, who didn't know that this was coming? This is a realistic question. As soon as rumors hit of an ice dragon anywhere on the internet. Who didn't try and piece together? Everyone's like, well, maybe there's a dragon that lives in the wall. No, you fucking idiots. The only way this is going to happen is Dany drives her fucking dragons up north, and then they get killed by a White Walker and become a White Walker. After it goes into the water, do you really think Darth Iceface is going to just, like, leave it there? No. He's going to get all of his slaves and pull them out, and then he's going to goobity-doo onto his face, and he's going to become a White Walker. And it's like, huh. I did read an interesting theory, though, that, like, because most of the Stark children are, like, wargs, but that's unproven in the TV series. But because most of the Stark children are wargs, that possibly because Jon is a Targaryen and a Stark, he might be able to get into the Ice Dragon's brain. I'm like, that's a little far-fetched.
That's a bit too far-fetched, but
it's right up there with, like, Longclaw being alive, or Bran warging into Longclaw. It's like,
dumb. But
what are you smoking?
I will say this, because I just realized what that dragon is now. He's a Blue Eyes White Dragon a la Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Yeah. Yep.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So the finale is next week, and I'm excited.
It's like an hour and a half long. I sure hope nobody releases it early, and I won't be tempted to watch it early, because I definitely didn't do that this week at all and put myself into, like, this perpetual state of anxiety when I have to wait 10 days for a new episode instead of 7. Fuck me!
But we had Defenders. We had Defenders.
Okay. But we had Defenders to we did this because of our love for this podcast, and we had to watch Defenders as soon as possible.
Yep,
like,
which is coming up
we
soon.
did this for you.
For you, Grandma.
For you, Grandma. Germany.
Say goodnight, Jess. Don't say
goodnight, Jess.